Morning, everybody. Well, it's morning when I'm recording this anyway. This is the third program in my brief series on the Jewish festival of Shabbat. My apologies that it's a while since I did the second one. It's amazing, isn't it? We're on lockdown, so you'd think you'd have nothing to do, stuck in your house, not able to do all the things you want to do. But as with most people, I'm managing to find loads of stuff to fill my time, and indeed there seems to be no time to spare whatsoever most days. So that's the excuses out the way. Let's move on to this third edition on Shabbat. You may remember, possibly if you've got memories that long, that the first program was all about the Jewish festival and how Jewish people celebrate it, and also talking about some of the reasons why they celebrate it. And the second of our programs on Shabbat was me telling you a story. It's one of my favourite stories from the Jewish tradition, and one that many Jewish kids grow up knowing, being told by their mums and dads or whoever they live with. This time I want to change that up, and I want us to think about the relevance of the Jewish festival, albeit a Jewish festival that's commanded in the Ten Commandments. You should keep the Sabbath day holy. And what relevance that has to us as Christians. Okay, what I want to emphasize with this program is that God's commandments make his people unique. And that's not just true of the Jews in ancient times, but it's true of us as Christians as well, that God's promises make us unique, make us different. Certainly did that back in the mists of time with the Jewish folks seeking for a new home after having left Egypt, and then eventually moving into the promised land and being told by God in the commandments and again through those that God sent to his people, listen, keep the Sabbath day holy, even as I am holy. So important to the Jewish people then, and still today. So that to this day, the Sabbath for Jewish people is a day of joy and rejoicing. It's a day of family celebration. It's a time, most of all, of remembering who God is, that he's a great creator God, that he made the world in 6 days, and then at the end of it he said, now I'm going to rest for the seventh day. And he commanded his people that they should do the same thing. Why should they do the same thing? For a number of reasons, but one of them was so that they should learn from and reflect who God was, because that's what God did. That's what the God of the Jewish people, the God of Israel, did. So that's what his people should do. So I think one of the things that Shabbat says to us, I'm using that term interchangeably with Sabbath. One of the things that Shabbat does is remind us that God wants his people to reflect who he is by the way that they live. Let me turn to the New Testament now then. In 1 Peter 1 verses 15 to 16, Scripture says, as he who called you is holy, you also be holy in all your conduct, since it is written, you shall be holy, for I am holy. So we're coming back to this theme that God wants his people to reflect who he is. And of course, the root of the meaning of the word for holy is different. It means much more than that. But at its root, the word hagios means different. So God wants his people to be different. When I was growing up in my church, I became a Christian at the age of 16, but it was a recurring theme that so often we don't hear mentioned anymore. That recurring theme was that God's people should be separate, that we should be in the world but not of it. And I'm afraid sometimes that wasn't explained sufficiently for us to understand, and we ended up so often being of the world but not in it. And so there's no point in being different just for the sake of it. Being different is not just not being like other things, but far more positively, being different is actually being like the God we worship. Being holy as he is holy, for the Jewish people, celebrating a day of rest because God had a day of rest. Shabbat, Sabbath, is not then about keeping rules alone. There's nothing wrong with keeping God's laws. That's a good thing, a very good thing indeed. But it's not just about keeping rules. It's about being different enough to set an example to the people around us. In those ancient days when God gave to his people a day of rest, he marked them out as being special, as being privileged, because none of the people around about Israel all those years ago had a day off a week. 15% of their week doing nothing. That was unheard of. The nations around about would have looked at Israel and said, who are these people? Why are they different from us? Why are they so privileged? 15% of their time in rest and relaxation and being alone with their God. So it is, yes, being holy is about being